Mute all.
Suerte,
Here we go.
feliz día. Bueno, un abracito, ¿ok?
Okay, so I don't speak Spanish. Okay, I have you all now. Can you guys give me some thumbs up? I'm not really an expert here. So virtual, physical, just let me know you're out there, you're hearing me. That would be amazing. Awesome. Okay, and I muted you all. I feel badly. Please unmute as long as you're not speaking Spanish on the phone. I would be more than happy to hear from you. Okay, great. Well, good morning. So guys, just a brief introduction. I have been on the Pivot Shift call since like we all woke up in March of 2020, like not knowing what to do with ourselves. And it's been so amazing. I so appreciate everyone on the call and especially James every morning, just kind of guiding us through the darkness and now just continuing to motivate and encourage. And that's what I'm here for today. I am offering just to help you out, to inform you about the Realtor Property Resource tool that NAR makes available to all of us at no cost. I was speaking to Ronnie, and I hope he'll help me out as well, because Ronnie also trains on this. I became a certified RPR trainer in, I probably should have checked, but 2015, 2016, something like that. And quite honestly, it was a paid position, and I was like, sure, you want to pay me to go around to different market centers and show people what I know? That's great. So I had an assistant. She would schedule 2 or 3 trainings a week. And at the time I worked for a small brokerage, and it really helped me grow my network and learn about other areas in New Jersey. I'm based in Summit, New Jersey. I have a small team, and hopefully they are on here because we're going to dive in deeper. There's so many levels to use this program. What I'm going to focus on today for you guys is the CMA function, because I have taken on James's challenge to get 15 listings a month, and that one of the tools that I'll use to get there is sending out 3 CMAs a day. So I hope that you will also be inspired to sign up for that. And if it's not 15, because your life, your life vision is something else, hopefully this will just help you be knowledgeable about the tools that NAR has for you and, can help you in your day-to-day business. The first thing, I always want to start my classes off, and I trained a lot of brand new agents that didn't have their NARS ID, NRDS ID, I never know how to say that. And so first you got to get signed up. It's not that hard. The help desk has always been fantastic. So you go to www.narrpr.com. If you don't have an account yet, that's probably okay. You can follow along today, but you'll want to get one set up just as soon as possible. And then I just recommend run your own property. Use the tool to learn about maybe your current listings, your property, your in-laws property, whoever's property you want to learn about. So I am going to share my screen, and I am going to pop in to the program. Okay, you guys all with me? I need more hands up. I'm not so used to this virtual thing. I usually do this live. Say hi, wave to me, anyone? Okay, well, I don't see any waves. Patty, you got to wave to me. I'm counting on you. Thank you. Okay, so we are in the program. We are going to go to the home screen of the program. And if you want to unmute and tell me that I don't know where I'm going at the moment. Okay, going too fast, going too slow, ask a question. I will take questions at the end so we don't go down any rabbit holes and divert from the content. But if it's a quick thing, absolutely, I can refocus you and help you with that. So again, I like to start with just running your own property. And I will tell you now, and I tell my colleagues this is a national database. It's pulling from several resources. It's pulling from your local tax records. It's pulling from your property listings. It's pulling from school reports. It's pulling from census data. So while it's a great resource for information, there are some anomalies in the data. You might say, well, wait, it's showing this elementary school that's in the next town over. And so you are the owner of your information. This is a resource. And if it's not accurate, call the 800 number, see if they can fix it, or make sure that you're aware that it's not accurate and speak to your customer about why that is. I decided to have a little fun this morning when I was preparing, and I was like, all right, Summit, New Jersey, so exciting. That's where we are. And of course, I will share, that's actually the report I'm gonna share with you later. But I was like, what if I really wanted to learn about Hawaii? I mean, why stay in Summit? Let's dream big. Let's see what we got about Hawaii. So I pulled up a property for sale in Hawaii. Who's with me? Anyone else want to go tour Hawaii on our little journey this morning? I need more thumbs up. Yes, thank you. Awesome. So you can pull up any address in the United States and Canada. I'm sorry, I don't recall at the moment. You can call the 800 number and check, but you can pull up any property in NAR's, National Association of Realtors sphere. So here we go. I went to Hawaii, and just to show you, I don't want to take it too fast. Ronnie's probably fallen asleep already because he's an expert, but just to show you, you can really pop up any property. This one I was talking to some of my colleagues about the other day. It's in Garwood, New Jersey. I just want to give you a step-by-step of how you do that. So you see, I'm just typing in the location, and I'm going to the public records. This property is not for sale. We sold it last year. And then it's populating the address for me, and I can pull it up. And I'm going to give you just a 5-minute what's in here about the property. So it's pulling from a listing. So my customer bought this property and then renovated it and rented it. So it's giving you a summary pulled from the listing records, the size of the property, the type, price per square foot. So this information, by the way, I have found very useful for both my investors and my buyers, just giving them a sense, of whether the property is appropriately priced per square foot for the town. So a useful number, we can dig into that maybe in a later class. Here's the lease price. So this is something, again, my customer bought, flipped, and rented, because I do not sell $6 million houses in Hawaii. I sell $150,000 houses in New Jersey. Lucky me. Not true. We also sell lots of $1 million properties. This one is pulling up the public schools. So you see right there, it's probably got it right. And then there's, again, what I always tell my my peeps on these calls, there's a lot of data in this system. I don't use it all. I pick out the pieces that are most useful to me and my customers. So for example, this AARP livability index, I don't really use this, but it might be very relevant to your market. So just another piece of information that's in there. And then here's some more information about the property itself, location. And I always say, if you're really making an offer on this property, you want to verify all of this. Giving you the owner information. So nationally, by the way, and I like to do this at Thanksgiving, you can look up anybody's property, when you're at your cousin's house and they're complaining about their real estate taxes. You just pull this up and you go, really? You live in Connecticut, you pay $3,000 a year. Have you heard of New Jersey? We all pay lots of taxes. So going down again, more tax information, the assessment, the deed when it's recorded. And let's see, we'd also have in here, depending on your area and your municipality's electronic capabilities, you can have mortgage records in here. So let me give you an example of that on one that I know has a mortgage recorded. Just to show you, because what I find this useful for is if I'm talking to a seller and I know that their mortgage balance may be higher than the sale value, it's good information to have and just kind of prepare them for that conversation and set yourself up for their success, knowing that, maybe this house is now only worth $450. It's not the case in this scenario, but I just want to show you that you can easily access the recorded mortgage. It's not the mortgage balance. In this case, looks like they refied. So it is, they might have some payments against that, but if it's 20 years out, this loan amount could be, what's owed could be very different. It's just a resource. It's not like an amortization schedule of their loan. You guys with me? Looks like you're with me from the people I see. Okay, Patty, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, let's go back up. So what I wanted to focus on for you guys today was two things, the reports and then the CMA. So I'm going to do the reports first, but here is the CMA tool we can go to on any property. I'm not going to go through all the different things that you can look at in here. We can at a later time, but you can also play around with your house and your favorite sister-in-law's house and all of that. Okay, so I'm going to come over to the reports tab. So over here, just click on reports. have made some changes to this since I taught it. So I'm going to pick a property report. Okay. So here we go. This is what I wanted. It lists out all the different types of reports that you can use in the system. So I'm going to give you a brief explanation of these and how you might use them. And then we can dig in and look at some of the reports in detail. So the property report is something that I would run, and I'd often leave it out at my open houses or at my property. I would put in a binder and write, please do not remove on the top of it. It gives you details about the property, like the school, the neighborhood. I would not print out the tax information and the ownership information because I don't want customers in general to just see that. So I can go down here where there's homeowner facts, and you can see that's who owns the property. So I wouldn't leave that printed out at the property. I would deselect that and not print it. There's a lot in here, so it takes some time. I don't print all these reports. Sometimes I run just a few pages and print that for a customer. And more, of course, I do it electronically when I'm talking to them online. Another one, just to tip you off, is that school reviews are in here. So this is like, I love the ones that are like the high school graduates, you know, and they're like, oh, my Spanish teacher was so great in high school, but my English teacher was always late. Like, I never print this out. This is totally irrelevant for the sale of a house because it's just pulled from, I think, great schools, and we don't really want to get into that myopic view. Sorry, I'm not able to deselect it. But anyway, you get my point. The last one about RPR and our data, I do always print, because if I ever run into a glitch when I'm talking to a customer and they're like, you know, Johnny's house sold for 600,000 and your report shows 530. I go, oh, I'm so sorry. It's a national database. And I point to this and I go, well, you know, the database is national, and of course there's going to be glitches in it. So that's how I get myself out of any information that is wrong in there. Okay, so that is the property report. Thumbs up, general idea of the property report, sense of it. Patty's my favorite. Okay, seller's report. So this one, as you can see, can be 81 pages. So that's a ton of information. I would very rarely use all of that information, but I have. What this one gives you that can be very useful and interesting is a lot of market data. So some of the aspects of the report are the same, and I'll show you this in a little bit, but you can put in some of your own information, and then some of this property value, property summary is going to be the same. Homeowner facts, again, is coming up. So if I'm meeting with a seller, I might keep this in because it's not hurting anything. I'm not sharing the report with anybody else. I'm just showing them that I have this national database that very easily gets this information for me. What is different about this report is this market activity section. So it pulls geographically some of the local market activity. So the way I use this one is if I'm going into a seller, and especially if it's in a market that's like a little bit out of my main market area. So I'm in Summit, New Jersey. And if I'm going, I will list properties anywhere in New Jersey that I could probably drive to in less than an hour. My parents had a house on Lake Apacon, for example, so I know that area very well. I would have no problem representing a customer there, but I might not know the day-to-day of the market as well. So I would use this section and I would let the system pull the market activity, so that if I get into a conversation with the customer and they're like, oh, why didn't you mention this house? And they're like, this house just sold, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, usually when customers say that, their radius is totally different than ours. For us, an appraiser just sold is like within 3 to 6 months, right? But a customer remembers that their next door neighbor sold and they're like, well, they just sold and it was, oh, yeah, actually it was 2 years ago, you know. So I'm like, let's talk about what just happened. And this is how the database pulls it. So again, can get you out of like not knowing exactly what happened on their street, but giving them like, you know, the activity in the market. So like active listings, pending sales, recent sales. Distressed, of course, there's different market activity that you can include. So, you know, little tips and tricks. I do not include distressed or expired unless it's relevant, you know. If I'm going after an expired, yeah, I'll show them, of course, I knew your listing expired. So just how I use that one. Seller's proceeds is also a great one if you guys don't have your own seller's net sheet. It will just ensure that you have some ability to talk to them about the cost of sale. And most of us know this pretty well. In New Jersey, I don't know if you guys are all aware, but they have a transfer tax. And I would say 50% of my clients have no idea that New Jersey has yet again decided to take a piece of the pie. So that's a useful place to have that conversation. I always point to the attorney. Ask your attorney about that cost because it's not my idea. Okay, so that's how I use the seller's report. Tons of data in there. And oopsie, my computer's going rogue. Okay, so we're trying to minimize that one. You ever have that day where the mouse just doesn't do what you want it to do? Okay, so property flyer, this is another one of my favorites. We might have to do this a different way. Let's do this a different way. Property flyer, this one's an easy one. I stuck with Hawaii on this one. I hit the wrong one. Hang on. Hang on 1 second. Are you into something intensive? I'm having trouble with getting my internet to do what I need it to do here. Sorry about that. Okay, let's go back. Here we go. Property flyer. Voila, back where we need to be. Okay, so this one I love for newer agents that don't have all their marketing and stuff set up. And if you are a newer agent and another agent asks you to do their open house or you want to market yourself during open houses, this is a great flyer to do very quickly and free and enables you to, guess what, have your information down here. So I know all of us have probably done open houses where the listing agent has great marketing, but a customer might leave the house not even knowing who you are. If you use something like this, which is very easy to do, just the picture will pull from the MLS and you have to put like a headline and you can copy the description from the MLS or write your own and you will be branded. It will bring up your name and information down here. So that is a property flyer. Okay. Mini property report right here is one that I don't use very often. I did hear from another colleague in our pivot group. They said they have this set up. This is 12 pages and they will use this one all the time for the CMA. So that's a great thing for me to explore. I just use the bigger one, the full property report, and customize it. Okay, valuation workbook. This is the big kahuna since we're going to be in Hawaii. This one is a very, you like that one, Patty? Thank you. This one is a deep dive. So we'll take a look at this in a few minutes. It enables you to evaluate a property pretty much like an appraiser would. So what I always say is, if you're doing a condo down the street where you've sold 10 of them, you probably don't need to spend that much time pricing it, right? You know, it's either 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. You have a pretty good sense of how much it's worth. But when you're called out to do a property that's, again, a little outside of your area or a little unique or has some condition issues or has some great updates, you have to go in a little deeper and you have to look at the different features of the property. Sorry about that. Okay, close. You have to look at the features of the property and determine what's gonna, here it is, what is gonna be relevant to the price of the property and how you're going to show that. So for example, and I'm gonna pull one open, but you can summarize your comps and your adjustments in a much more detailed way. And you can show, this is my favorite page. My mouse. Why is he running rogue? Okay, he wanted to go back to Hawaii. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, I'm gonna use my finger, forget my mouse. So here's the, okay, good, this is better. I love my touchscreen. You can pull up this grid. So this is the grid, that's the golden grid. So this shows that you have taken the time, or did show a minute ago when I had it up. you have taken the time to look at this property and specifically compare it to other houses that have recently sold. And when they ask you why, the house across the street is $600,000 and theirs is $540, you can say, look, they did their kitchen 2 years ago. You did yours 8 years ago. They just updated all the bathrooms. They have, a bigger lot, whatever it is. So when the customer has those very specific and detailed questions, you're going to have the information to show them why you know the difference and why you know what their property should be marketed for. Good with that? Okay, I'm sticking with my finger. My mouse has gone rogue. Okay. Okay, next one, market activity. This is another great report. And the way that I use this one is if I'm hosting an open house, I went to the mouse again. Never, not going back. Okay, market activity.
Barbara, there's a question in the the chat. Can you select the homes you want to have in the valuation workbook?
You can. So I'll show you one in a few minutes. I just wanted to give kind of an overview of the reports, and then we'll look at that. Thank you, Patty.
Sure.
Right-hand girl. Okay, so market activity. The way that I use this one is, again, if I'm hosting an open house and it's not my listing or it's not my neighborhood, I want to know what's happening in the market without spending, tons of time researching. And I also want to have something available to me. I'll sometimes put this report on my iPad and have it open on the counter for customers so that they can flip through it. And then here's the trick is they're like, oh, what about this property? Can I get more information? Or if I have the report, I'll only print one market activity report copy. And then I'll say, absolutely, I'm happy to email it to you. Just put down your email so you can actually get an accurate email. So that's market activity. And that's one of the ways I use that report. Sticking with my finger, no mouse. Okay, neighborhood report. So this, I'm going to say, is kind of a good starting place. If you're feeling like, oh my God, there's so much information in this database, I'm never going to understand how to use it. I don't want to share somebody's tax information. I don't want to print out a mortgage at a listing. This is where you can start. This is a great place to start because it's just giving some very basic demographic information about the neighborhood. It's also a place that I will point to. No more mousing. It's getting old. It's a place that I will point to if someone asks me about any kind of demographic information that I don't want to go into. I'll be like, oh, I don't really have that. You're welcome to research anything. What I do have is a neighborhood report. This will tell you the population. And I like to use this if I have a relocation customer coming in and they're considering different areas. So for me, an example would be, Summit versus Garwood, just the size of the town. How big of a community do you want to be in? And I can easily look up the population. If I'm running around and a customer throws on a property, I just sold one in Mendham, New Jersey, which is the first time in 16 years I've sold a property in Mendham. This would be a great resource because I can easily pull up the population and at least have like some basic knowledge about that community. So again, neighborhood is where to start if you are, wanting to just get comfortable with the reports. What are we doing with this thing? Okay, I think we're running something in the background. And last is the school report. So, I wouldn't be against using this one, especially if I was going to tell people where to go to school in Hawaii. I don't really use this one, to be honest, but I don't think it's a terrible thing. It can just give you the basics about the schools in the area, the reviews. This is where it's going down that rabbit hole, somebody writing something positive or negative about a school and their personal experience. So that's it. I'm not going to dwell on what I don't use. So those are the report selections. All right, so let me go into chat. I'm not that good at this, so I can't multitask. Can you select the home? So yes, Lori. Love the valuation section to rebut appraisals, right? Okay. So let's go. Can you select? I think we're good on the questions. You can also unmute if you have a question at this point. We can take a little, make sure we got all that in. And anyone, are we good? Okay, awesome. So let me show you a little bit more about how to do a CMA. So if you are making those 20 calls every day and sending out 3 CMAs and getting 15 listing appointments, you're pretty busy. So you're going to want to have a quick way to send out a CMA. So I'm going to go back to that property that I was looking at a few minutes ago. And sometimes also I do this on a first step listing appointment. I recently met with a seller who, you know, has some medical issues, and we really connected, and she's like, you're great, so when I'm ready, but she's not selling right now. And I don't really want to be held to the price right now because we don't know where the market's going, up, down, 6 months, 2 years from now, I don't know. So when she asked me, but what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Because, you know, they just want to know so badly. What I will say is, let me pull up my program with the National Association uses as their tool to help you get a value.
Barbara, you're muted.
Oh, is that better? Did we miss a lot? Okay, you can hear me now, right? Thank you. Okay, well, it's good that I did it again. So again, quickly searching on a property, and the property is 130 Overhill Way. I don't know the value of this property. I haven't assessed it, but I can quickly pull.
Barbara, you
Muted again. Muted.
Again, sorry. Got it. Okay, so you can quickly pull up what the National Association is determining as the market value. So you see that current RVM. I'm not even touching my mouse because now it's muting me. It's just playing games with me. And you can quickly say to the customer, you know, I haven't had the time. I haven't seen your house. We don't know when you're going to sell. Whatever the reason is, I don't really have a full value for you, but I can use this proprietary, and keep that word in your language, proprietary, because you're a realtor and you're the local market expert, proprietary database to see what the National Association shows as the value based on the sales and the market information that they have. And that way you're out of the problem. This actually was useful in a recent listing that I had, where Zillow's showing, you know, $1 million, and there's no way the house was worth $1 million. It actually just closed at 825, but this one showed more like 920. So when I went to talk to the customer, I was like, well, you know, that's what they're saying based on the total sales in the community, and your house is very large, but they're not factoring in what's updated and what's not updated. So with the local information in our database, we're able to do that. And we're able to take it a step farther and actually incorporate your upgrades and your downgrades in order to come to a more accurate price. Okay, so I'm going to pause here. So again, this RVM is just a ballpark number, but much more relevant in most cases than a Zestimate, and proprietary. So you as a realtor have access to this information to share with them as your prospect. Good? I'm not muted, right? Awesome. Okay. Now, going from there.
Hey, Barbara, would you I have a question.
Sure.
So can you hear me?
Yes.
So would you say to your client that see the range, and since I haven't seen your home, you probably, if it's not updated, it's going to be at 857 probably, and we can go up to that top number based on what I see in your home. Would you agree we can say that?
Yeah, that's fair to say. I mean, I would just, everything you say, I would be individually confident. I mean, maybe you happen to know that the property also just flooded, and so you're going to have a hard time getting even what the RVM says. But yes, that is definitely a possible. And one thing I thought about when I was setting this up is like, this would be a great, we could leverage this and go on to scripts about these reports. Like, how do we talk to these reports? So maybe that's another one we can set up. Okay, but for now, the goal that I had was to go over the reports and to show you the CMA. So that's your like easy, basic, quick 5 minutes. I was actually at the beach with my extended family a few weeks ago, and my brother-in-law lives nearby, and he asked me, and I looked at it for him, and then my brother in North Carolina asked me about it, and I looked at it for him. So again, position yourself as the expert. Oh yeah, sure. I'm at the beach on vacation, and I'm not asking you to go to work, but sure, I will check that for you. Okay. So going from there, from that broad general conversation of this is what the National Association shows as a value, let's go to a CMA. And you can see I just clicked on the CMA button. And this section, which is definitely the advanced part of the program, allows you to go in and pick out the properties that you want to compare this one to. So I'm actually going to go back to one I just did a few minutes ago. I'm coming back to the home page. And there's a lot of tips and tricks. I'm not able to cover all of them with you, but down towards the bottom of this screen, you can see my listings, my properties, my searches. So for example, I just took a look at this 33 Bedford Road. I'm so afraid of my mouse right now. Can't even tell you. 33 Bedford Road. Okay, it worked. I'm not touching it again. So I pulled up this property in Summit to share with you. So you can see this beautiful home recently listed. It's got a list price of 1,545. The RVM is 1,344. So that may or may not be relevant. You don't have to show your customers every number in this database. Your goal is to help them and to use the data in order to, you know, get them. Maybe they're buying this home and you're seeing it's only 1,344 and the list price is 1,545. So as we all know in our market, that just might mean 1.6 or 1.7, but it also might mean that it is overvalued. It just depends. You have to get in there and look at all the details. So in order to do a CMA for this property, I'm going to do this as a quick way because you could spend hours doing this, but we're going to do it quickly. And I have to move you guys with my mouse, I hope, my finger, to the other side of the screen so I can see everything. So you guys can still see the screen, right? Yes? Okay. So we are doing a CMA for 33 Bedford Road. And I'm planning to go till about 10:45. I have an 11, but I can take some questions and stay on a little after 10:45, just FYI. So we are seeing 33. We can save this property if we want to find it easily later, and we can come down, confirm the facts. So I did this a few minutes ago. On confirming the facts, all you have to do is confirm the asterisk values. Can't touch my mouse, but you confirm the property type, the bedrooms, the total baths, and the living area. Which actually, I didn't do that. I'm not sure why. 3596. Now, depending on, you know, your knowledge of the area, your knowledge of the house, you are more than welcome to do the rest of this and put in all these details. I usually just do the asterisk ones, those you need to do to make it work, but you can fill in all the details, especially if you have a very meticulous customer. But I'm going to stick to what I do, which is just the asterisk, and then I'm going to confirm the facts and close. So this is just kind of a quick check to make sure that you've got accurate information. What I say to my customers sometimes is that if somebody did an addition in 1970 and the tax records don't reflect it, I certainly want to reflect, actually that just happened recently. I want, you know, that to reflect in the value that I'm telling you the house is worth, even though the tax record is incorrect. Okay, step 2, search for comps. So I already did this, but I'm going to show you how to do it. You can either add a known property, which to be honest, is what I usually do from my MLS, or you can search for properties in the area. Just on the search, it's a national database. It's not your local one. So it may have more mistakes. It may pull data incorrectly. It may pull it geographically and you want it by town, whatever it is. I always unclick the living area square foot. You see where I'm clicking and unclicking because that will restrict. And in my particular MLS, the living area square foot isn't in there. So I don't want to restrict the comps that I might be finding with that. And then I hit search for comps. And then I'm able to easily zoom in and select comps. So for example, I picked this one. I've already checked it, used as a comp. So I'm just checking use it as a comp. I'm doing this pretty quickly. There's a lot of depth here, but I just want to give you a general sense. So here are the ones that I've picked as comps. It's also given me some suggestions, even though I didn't, this is what they've searched for. So I've picked 3 here. Touching the mouse, scary. See, that doesn't work, don't touch the mouse. And I'm now fine with those 3 comps. Again, you can just add them in from your MLS up here, or you can search. Okay, moving on, update, evaluation, and close. You can adjust these comps. So this is very important, maybe the most important step, because you want to show that you know what's going on, and you know this. So we're at 33 Bedford Road, as you can see. you know that 29 Bedford Road just sold for 1590, right? It looks like it actually just closed in June. So you have so much information here in a great format to go over with the customer in the depth that is needed. So you can adjust all of these fields. I usually stick to either total rooms, which is right there in the middle of the screen, or bedrooms, and I will make an adjustment. We have in New Jersey a great resource in Jeffrey Otto, which is an appraiser that studies New Jersey markets, and he gives us a value of different improvements. For example, if you add a half bath, like we're right here, if this house has an extra half bath than the one I'm pricing, that means that if I added a half bath to mine, I would have more value, right? I would add $7,000. So here I'm going to take away $7,000, and just a quick example from that comp, because I can easily say to my customer, yes, the house across the street sold for 1560, whatever it was, but you are missing a bathroom. So I'm going to take that value out, and that $7,000 I get from Jeffrey Otto because I'm a local expert and I know what the appraiser says the value of that bathroom is. Okay.
Barbara,
Yep.
can you answer a question specifically about this right now?
Sure.
So you said you have the advantage of having an appraiser there in New Jersey who really knows and is willing to share valuation of different elements of a home. What about those of us that are in areas where we don't have access to that? And isn't it best to get variations of value from an appraiser?
Well, so let me explain a little more. So Jeffrey Otto, yes, he's willing to share. Yes, you pay for the information. So he's doing research all the time and has a big team of big companies. So that's number one. Number two, as far as how you would get that information, there's different tools that you can use. For example, Hanley Wood, which is actually in this database, and I can show, if you guys wanted to shoot me questions for another training or a mastermind scripts class around this, that'd be great and really fun. I'd love to do that more interactively. But I would say to you that if you're pricing a house, if you've been doing this for a few years, what a half bath is worth in your area, right? Because you can look back and you can say split level A sold for 500, split level B with an extra half bath sold for 512. You just have to use your market knowledge.
And so the question is, in a place where there are not too many subdivisions and everything is very unique, home built in 1740 is different than a home built in 1890, stuff like that, I would want to defer to an appraiser. That's why I asked the question, and probably also because for those who might be new to an area and want to jumpstart their knowledge. If
you have relationships with appraisers, that would be a great way to do it, or looking through past sales and looking through your own, like you can usually get the appraisal report. So yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Thanks.
So yep, no problem. My pleasure. So the example that I set up prior to our class was on this property. And just to give you can also customize this. Okay, I'm touching the mouse again. Danger zone. I can't. Crazy. You can customize some additional fields. So I wanted to show you that. And what I put in is our subject property has a newly, it doesn't actually, don't let me fool you, but if it did have a newly finished spectacular pool or whatever other fields you want to add here, you can add it. So if my house has this beautiful pool and the comps do not, then I can add $50,000 of value to my subject property. So coming down, you can summarize, you'll see the summary of the adjusted values. So we added pretty much $50,000. I added $50,000 to each of these. So you see adjustments. Okay, so I added that bathroom too. That's at 43. I took away a bathroom, took away the value of having more of a bathroom from this house. And then I added 50,000 to these other two. So then you can also weigh the comps in different ways. And what I say to this point is, your customer doesn't want to hear about they want you to include the house that is across the street that has the pool, the 5-car garage, the brand new kitchen. And so you show this on the report, but you can weigh it. And again, only to benefit them and show them the real value, that you can include that. But maybe you're like, you know, that house, because it has so many different features, really isn't as relevant. So while I included it here, I thought it was about 10%, where the rest of them were more of 45% of similar qualities. I don't use this too much, but you can play around with it if it's getting you to the right price that you want to help them market their house at. So that's the comp weighing. And then update valuation and close.
Barbara,
Yep.
another question.
Yeah.
So what is NAR's philosophy behind us using this compared to the CMAs that are within our own MLSs?
So NAR rolled this out, and I guess Ronnie said 2014, and I was introduced to it right around then too, 2014, 2015. I think that NAR rolled this out, your expert opinion here, because, you know, everyone's going online and looking at his estimate and thinking that they know everything about real estate. So they developed this product that allows you to have more information and more insight. I don't think NAR would probably say, yeah, use our tool, but you might think, well, I'm better off using my local market tool. I think this is a great format. And the reason that this is useful to me is because it's so easy to push this button and create a report. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's just another resource. So it depends on what you have. You know, some people are paying for, I forget the names of them, but, you know, all the different CMA resources that are out there.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. So I'm gonna open this report for you. And just show you, because you can, in that 5 to 10 minutes, you know, we've created this branded report with your information on it, which of course, you know, I put this in before, but by now we all know how to put our profiles on Zillow or on wherever online we need them. So these I can show you next time, because we're already at 10:46 and I have a hard stop at 11, but you can upload your own profile sheet to the report. So that's one of the things that I have at the beginning. Again, you don't have to print everything out. I don't always print all of this out, but you know, this gives you a chance also to put this at your listing and put it in front of the report, you know, right under the cover page, and you're showing your knowledge and experience. And then here's the report itself. So I never ever print out all these prices for a customer because it would confuse them. So let's talk about what we have here. We have 1615, which is the result of the sales comparison analysis. We have a list price of 1545, and none of these prices are really relevant because I just did that. It doesn't have a pool. I'm just using it as an example. The current estimated value, the RVM of 1344, is what the database says. So as you know, in a lot of our markets, we're not able to be up to date on the current closings and the current values. Was there a question there? Okay.
So what are the CMAs that are you sending this?
So I printed this report with everything on it, but if I was doing a CMA, first of all, it hopefully wouldn't be listed. So there would be nothing here. This wouldn't show up. I would probably suppress this one because I've had already a quick conversation with them about the database and what the RVM is. And I would print this sales comparison analysis price that I came to, and then I would explain to them how I came to it. I mean, the range here is completely irrelevant and useless information, right? I mean, of course, it's worth somewhere between 1.2 and 1.9, so that's not helpful information. I might even white it out. But I would use the 1615 in talking to a customer about pricing their home.
Do you have the ability to suppress numbers, and do you send this electronically?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can
and do you
suppress
send this
them, and I wouldn't.
Do you print these?
I wouldn't necessarily, if I have taken the time, and it usually takes me somewhere like an hour to do a full valuation analysis, I wouldn't email this out in most cases. I would email the RVM out, but if I've spent the time to price this, then I'm gonna wanna meet with them and go over it, right? I don't wanna just send out information because then they're gonna do a FSBO and they're gonna say, look, this is what the realtor said it was worth. Just kidding. So again, we're kind of running out of time. Do you guys have questions? If you have questions, I can take them, and you know, I can come back to this, but I can send you guys all this report, and then make sure we get your
Will
questions
you be
addressed. But I do
sending
have a
out the
hard stop.
recording?
Yeah, I can do that. Hey, Kristen, are you on? Can you save the chat for me? Just because my mouse, I'll throw everybody to.
Hey, Barbara,
Kristen?
how do you suppress those numbers? I mean,
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. Let me show you that. Kristen or Lori, do you guys know how to save chat? Okay. Jean Marie Minton, do you know how to save chat? Someone?
Jean Marie's
Yes,
responding. to
yes,
you.
I just saved it. Sorry,
Thank
I
you,
just
darling.
saved it for you.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
My own
Yeah,
team
you bet.
apparently fell asleep on me. Okay, how do you suppress the values? Yeah, that's a great question. So in the reports, okay, so these are the reports that I've already run. They changed the screen and I don't like the way they changed it. So you see I'm at 33 Bedford Road, and then it goes to my reports in Hawaii and all of that. And then you come down to select report. When you select the report, you can plus on the right side there, and you can include or exclude whatever you want. So it's just to show you that auto thing, well, I'll show you in a minute. So you just click or unclick. As far as the values go, you want to come down to the end, and you can suppress estimated value for comps, and this is the RVM, so you could suppress the RVM. Got it?
What does RVM stand for?
Realtor Valuation Model.
Model. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Realtor Valuation Model. And a lot of the acronyms and a lot of the data details are easily found throughout the program by clicking on these little eyes.
Yeah, sure, for
That's
information.
a helpful way to find, what they're talking about. Okay. Go back to Hawaii. So here's a seller's report. You can also put in your own photo, by the way. So there's lots of tricks. If you guys send me, what areas you want to focus on, like definitely adding your own profile sheet is a good one. We can plan it. I can, plan around that for the next time if you guys want to do another one. Here's Otto. Where he does this, and this is embarrassing, but it really needs to be updated from 2018 because we have this every half year. But here's hidden giving in New Jersey. If a home is valued at, so say we're at 1250, I think the half bath is probably even more than a bathroom is here. This 12,000. Half bath 12,000. Are
you saying that this is?
Go ahead.
Is this what you're showing us here? Is that something that's part of this website? I mean,
no.
Or no? Okay,
this
fine.
is
That's your own
done
thing.
by Jeffrey Otto.
Got it. That's from him. Okay, got it.
Yeah, because he does workshops every 6 months, and then it doesn't change that much though. The value of a bathroom. It changes more based on the value of the property. So I would focus on a 750 house. It's probably my target list price in my area. Probably. So that's saying a half bath is worth 8,000 and a full bath is worth 14,000. Yeah.
Hey, Barbara, I'm curious, is there something in RPR that could prepare information for like the community?
Yes. So
because that would be great as
Yeah.
like a blanket, like a big postcard.
yeah.
To the
Yes.
community.
Who is that? I can't see that part of the screen. Who's asking?
I'm Louise.
Louise.
South Florida Louise, South Florida Louise Weiss.
Of course, I recognize your voice. Information about the area. So let's go back and let's look at, and we all know what I'm talking about, Summit, New Jersey. Okay, so I searched for the public records here. I could also search for this for sale. And
Louise, are you talking about like community points
Yes.
in a, like where the school
Like
is, the library?
No.
blah,
I mean like an association, like the value range for neighborhood ABC.
Oh,
let's see. I'm not quite sure. Let me think about that. There's a lot. Yeah, I mean, yes, but mostly by town. And I think actually I haven't done it in a while, but you can dive down by neighborhood. So for example, in Summit, it's giving you the median estimated home value of 966. So if you have a customer that comes in, they're like, I want a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath colonial, walking distance to town, and my budget's 500,000. I'd be like, okay, Summit's not for you, and here's why. And it's just a very simple way to say the average price is 966. So, you know, we're in Union County, we have an average price of 475. So there's plenty of towns that I can find you that. It's just not going to be in Summit because it's very simple average sale price. And this is where also the you can find the census information. So you can find the population.
So Barbara, what pages are you exactly sending out for these 3 mini CMAs a day?
So for the CMA a day, I would probably just have that as a phone conversation. And then if it goes farther, I would send out probably just the front page. So this property, for example, not listed for sale. I did actually do, I guess, a comp analysis at some point and refine the value, but the RVM. So if I'm having a casual conversation, which, you know, with my friend that I'm walking my dog, and she's like, I know the market's so strong and the house across the street sold for XYZ. What do you think mine is worth? I would just be like, look, I'm not going to say because we're not going to sell, but let me look at what the National Association says, and I would give her the RVM. And then you could send this to her in just the basic, just a few pages of the property report. So that's what I would do. Just send like the 2-page thing with the second page showing the RVM. Okay, so
And
I'm sorry.
you would send that out, just the RVM, before you go ahead and do any of the other comps or anything that you would plan to put in a CMA.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to do a full in-depth CMA unless I'm meeting with them and they have a plan to, you know, at least consider selling. It's just too
Gotcha.
time
Thank you.
consuming. Yep. All right, guys. So it's 10:56. I do have an 11 o'clock appointment. So any other last questions? Or are we good? Jimmy,
yes,
we
I
can say
do.
the chat one more
I have
time.
one.
Sure, go ahead.
I have one question. So I ran a report, and it's really nice. It came out, you know, really neat. But I wanted to see, is there any way once you have a report there, can you edit some change? I mean, can you make changes afterwards? Can you always go back and change or
What
edit?
I do is I just rerun it. I will run a report. It will have a page or number that I don't want in it. It doesn't cost me anything to run it again. It takes like 3 minutes or less. So I just run it again. And you'll notice in my reports, you know, I have the seller's report here twice. That's probably exactly what happened. I ran it one time. It wasn't the way I wanted it. Property report, same thing. Because there's so many things to click and unclick that or suppress that I have to go back and review it and then run it again. All right. Well, thanks you guys so much. Go ahead.
Hey,
Thank
Barbara,
you.
when you send, I don't know if you're sending an email or putting something in the pivot page, would you mind, or would you consider adding an example of what you send? You prepare 3 a day, but I know you're not spending 3 hours a day doing it.
No.
Like you're doing something short and sweet. Like
I will. I'll set up a little header email for you guys and include that. Absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem.
Super duper. I'll send
All
you
right,
the
guys.
chat, Barbara.
Thanks for joining. Thank you, Jean Marie.
You betcha.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate
No problem. My
it.
pleasure. Great
Thank
seeing all of
you.
you.
Thank you.
Have a
Have a
great
good
day.
day.
Have a
Bye.
great
Have a
weekend.
great weekend. Good luck with your appointment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great
Bye.
weekend, everybody.